Hi, and welcome back to another edition of Relatable. I am your host, Stephanie Michele. And just like last week, we are probably going to be covering some ground today that will give the internet trolls something to spend their time on. Although I can't claim to understand or want to understand why people choose to lean into hate, I do still see these people as a part of the collective we. We is my favorite pronoun, and of course we talked about pronouns quite a bit last week. We is what motivates me to connect and be curious. We is where I find meaning. Although I can't give my time or energy to people that choose to lean into hate, I can emphasize, I can have empathy for them because there's pain there. And I'm a human and I've experienced pain, so I can understand that there's pain. And I'm sorry that they have this kind of pain, that they're carrying something that causes them to lash out at other people. One thing that I know for sure fuels a lot of hate is shame. Shame is a feeling of unworthiness, feeling like an outcast for something that you did, and it usually leads to more hurtful and destructive behavior. When you experience shame, it's because you're allowing someone or something else to judge and control how you feel. Shame and the behavior of shame is well documented and researched by experts like Brené Brown. Although our culture continues to use shame as a tool for change, it does not work unless a person can identify with their own guilt and desire change for themselves. Guilt is personal. Shame is implied by someone else. That's the difference between the two. Guilt is different from shame because because if you're feeling guilty about something, there's a connection to your personal values and beliefs. If your actions are in conflict with what you believe in, you may be way more motivated to correct your behavior and make change. And as always, there's so much more context to explore on a topic like this, but we're going to try to get into it. And one of the ways that I try to take a complex topic and really learn about it and find my way through it is just by exposure of art. Watching a film, reading something, and then of course talking to someone about it. So this is why I'm so thrilled to have my guest here today. And as you can see, there's another guest in the room too. She is very, very pregnant with a girl, right?
Yes.
Yes. All right, so this is Brittany Ballard. She's a director, screenwriter, actor, and a film producer. Last August, Brittany wrote, directed, and starred in a short film, Wolf, which I've had the pleasure of seeing the whole thing, and you guys are gonna get to see the first minute in a second here, which Wolf has had its festival premiere at CineQuest in March and will have its online premiere later this summer. Brittany also just launched a YouTube series called Hot Mess, based loosely on her experience of desperately wanting to be a mother and then becoming one on accident. She explores this theme further with her on InstaFam. I have to say it like that.
Yeah, good.
InstaFam.
InstaFam.
Her new podcast on non-traditional parenting, being broke in LA is a whole other thing, right?
Yes.
Being an artist with her rapper baby daddy, Old Man Saxton. Last but not least, Brittany performs as a lyricist and a songwriter under the name Baby Luck. Her next single, Drug Birds, with electronic artist Kevin Knapp, sorry mom, will be released this May on Solo Records. Yay, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so excited
to be here.
I know, this is the
Good
first
to see
time
you.
that I've got two for the first time.
Yeah, you got two hearts.
You got two hearts?
Two brains. Two dreamers.
Two dreamers?
She's kicking, she likes you.
Yeah?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
she's completely here, so.
I love it. I love that you're here. So, Brittany, the first thing that I ask everybody before we get into our topic is there anything that's just pulling your attention that you want to just put out there to kind of say, hey, this is what I'm tuned into right now?
Yeah, a couple things.
Okay.
I'm not, feel free to cut me off, because I tend to ramble.
Okay.
Especially when I'm pregnant, which has been the last 3 years, I feel like. I think I'm realizing the importance of asking for help. I had a lot of trouble finding, I like to think that things are harder than they are, and maybe like to complicate things a bit. And I've been sort of tied to a story I tell myself that's heavily based on my past, about who I am, and that leads to shame and guilt. But I like to say that LA is really hard for mothers, and I'm not from here, and I'm wanting always to move and never really committing. And couldn't find childcare to come here. I have a 16-month-old. But sure enough, if I just expanded my network and thought more deeply about my community, I asked for help. And I had a mom from a mom's group come from 9 to 10, and my cousin from 10 to 11, and then my mom and my aunt are actually coming from Oakland because my rapper boyfriend is out of town. So it's like, that's stupid. I have tons of people. I just have to be okay that right now I can't show up for them as much as they are for me.
But it all comes
and
around.
not feel guilt.
Yeah, it all comes around, and I'm sure some people take a lot of pleasure in helping too, and we can't forget that. Like, it's nice to be on the list of like, hey, can I ask you this? Like, oh, there's trust involved when you reach out to someone and say, especially in childcare, like, I trust you enough to leave you with what's most precious in my life, right?
Right, and like self-esteem is, rooted in doing esteemable acts, and I think, just wanting to remind myself that I'm doing great, even though I feel guilty for everything all the time.
Yeah. That just means you have really strong values and beliefs.
Right.
So there you go. Okay, so we are going to talk about filmmaking and shame and guilt and all of these things, but I thought the best thing that we could do is just allow people to see the very first minute of your film, Wolf. Great. So we're going to play that now, and we're going to play it full screen. So we're going to go away for 1 minute, guys. But we'll be back, and you guys are going to want to hear what we have to say after you watch this first minute of Wolf. So here you go.
Are you safe? Ma'am, are you physically safe right now?
I'm alone here, so...
Because, if you need emergency assistance...
No, I'm fine. I just want to do this.
Okay. Do you want to speak with one of our counselors?
No, I don't want to talk to anyone. I heard there was one where I don't have to do the stirrups.
Do you have an outpatient procedure? Looks like the first available is this Friday at 8 a.m.
I'll take that one. It's at home, though, right?
Well, first you will have to have an ultrasound here at the clinic. You'll take the first pill here, and then the second pill 24 hours later at home. You'll probably experience something that feels a lot like a heavy period.
That's fine. How soon before I can work out?
All right, you guys got to watch the first minute of Wolf, which hasn't even been on the internet in its entirety, so that was a special preview.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Hopefully you were paying attention to what was going on there, and if not, I'm gonna totally, I'm gonna bust it right now and tell you what's happened. So, this lovely woman is a mom. She's adding to her family soon. And she wrote, directed, and starred in a film that opens up with a scene about abortion.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a lot. Tell us what was going on. Why that?
Yeah.
Well,
I guess you could say I'm in my motherhood phase. Like painters have like blue phase. I feel like this is my motherhood phase. That's sort of like exploring, wanting to be a mother, not becoming one, and then making a choice to lose one or have an abortion, and then the grief and shame around that, prompting a even deeper desire to become a mother. And so Wolf was really born out of a place of just not knowing what to do with the grief that I was feeling. And I haven't thought as much about shame until you brought it up, actually, but I've been operating more around the guilt part of it. Mm-hmm. But shame, I think, is, I just read Tattoos on the Heart by Gregory Doyle. He started Homeboy Industries, and he says a lot of great things about shame, one of which is that it's at the root of all addiction. And I feel like I was addicted to sort of hurting myself and paying penance after the abortion. I hurt myself, my body, drank a lot, didn't sleep, didn't eat, kind of all this sort of bizarre, haphazard punishment. And didn't know how deeply I would be impacted by the experience. I'm very pro-choice, but I would hate for my daughters to go through that level of pain.
I think it's a misconception. I mean, I'm pro-choice as well. That doesn't mean that you feel good about that decision, you know. And I really don't think anybody does, you know.
No.
And how could you? And why I attach shame to all of this is like, how could you, if you've had an abortion, or if you've gone to a clinic with someone that's had an abortion, you've walked through this like panel of people shaming you,
right?
And you know, claiming to know more than you know about your own life
body.
And what you're supposed to do. And my challenge with that is, and I've said this, and I probably have said this on the show before, is how is that helping anything? You know, there's a statistic in this country that most abortions that happen are repeat abortions. You know, it's like almost half of them. Because once a woman walks through that line of shame, it's like, well, what's preventing her from doing it again? I'm already a bad person, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
So,
God, I couldn't do it again.
It's fascinating to me that, like, you know, on any side of a debate, there's always something people can agree on. And here's a thing that both sides, push and pro-life, could go, hey, too many of them are happening. Let's find a better way. Let's like teach women about their bodies and self-esteem and all of these things, and let them have an outlook to get rid of the shame instead of implying more, you know? So,
well, I guess for my outlet, I couldn't find one that worked until I actually signed up for a short story class, and then wrote a short story based on an experience I had where a little boy came up to me at the park and held my hand and would let me go, because the dog I was with was scaring him. And I had to walk him. I realized his mom was on the other side of the park, and I walked him all the way over, and I felt a lot of shame at how much I wanted to basically just be his mother and become his mother, and thought for 1 second, as shameful as that may be, that he was like reincarnated as my son.
yeah.
And I realized then that there was this magical way of thinking, to quote Joan Didion, in grief, where it's like, maybe maybe we're both dead. Maybe, I mean, I just kind of went to the other side with it.
Yeah.
And it helped a lot to the short story, but it wasn't until I became a mother that all this stuff came back. And all this stuff about my childhood and how my interaction with sex, and then my relationship with my mother. And I come from a Catholic family, so there's that guilt attached to any personal shame and guilt and grief. And I didn't know what to do with it. So I made Wolf, and I was pregnant making Wolf, and I didn't know.
Wow.
So something's going on here.
Yeah, you definitely are in
motherhood
your baby
phase
mode.
for sure.
Yeah. I had a question, and then it just went right out of my head. So, and also in the film, I wish you guys could see all of it, but she is, that topic of a child coming into her life and what to do with it is in there, and I'm not going to give any more away. You're going to have to watch it. But so when you first, so you've already said you've had an abortion.
Yes.
And when that happened, did you talk to anybody about it?
I was, well, the father didn't want the child. It was very complicated. And I made the decision alone to abort. And it was the weirdest, hardest thing, but it was actually coming from a place of really wanting to be a mother, and realizing that if I had had this child, it would have been for me and not for them. And seeing their life with a father that didn't want them, and where I was at in my life financially, emotionally, I would have had to move back in with my parents. There's nothing wrong with that, but that wasn't what I felt something deeper and bigger calling me on the other side of this. But it was the hardest decision I've ever made, and you don't feel like you are worthy of grieving when you make the choice. Kind of like when you break up with someone, you're not allowed to be sad. But it's like, dude, I had the harder, like I had to have the bravery of ending something. And now I've lost that thing. And nothing is clear. Nothing is like, all right, that was... You know, I think for me, everyone is on the spectrum of how an abortion impacts them. Some women are less impacted. I was like, it was a couple years there of darkness, and still not remembering a lot of that time in my life.
I suspect that a lot of people have the same feelings around it. Like they maybe don't talk to people, but then it just keeps manifesting in different parts of their life. And this is why I think it's so powerful to see this in an art piece, or, you know, in a film, because I did go to one of your screenings, and you literally could like drop a pen in the room when the film stopped playing. You know, it was awesome. It was intense, and
thank you.
At finding a way, like people finding a way, there are men and women in the room, but finding a way to respectfully share what they were thinking, you know, and some of it was their own personal, like, I got to process this, and then they wanted to know more about you. And, but it was so beautiful because everybody was pretty raw in that moment and able to talk about it. And I think there was a lot of healing that just happened in that room at that time without anybody trying. You were very humble. I remember you kind of being, this is real, you know, just raw and humble about it.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah. So did you think that would have happened with the film, that, you know, this would be something that would help people talk, or like what was the worry and what was the hope, maybe, is the question here?
I think the hope was to kind of get the grief out of my body.
Yeah.
And by doing so, you know, the more personal, the more universal, hopefully, when it comes to art and storytelling. So I think my goal was to connect with people and give voice to something that we often don't talk about for women. And I've done some festival screenings, and no one raises their hand during the Q&A. But I say, if anyone wants to speak to me, I know it's a sort of intense film. If you want to talk at all after, I'll be in the lobby or wherever. And people come up to me, and women have story after story of their daughter or their niece or themselves having lost a child at any point. And most women I know have lost a child, and we don't count abortion or miscarriage, but I do. And it's loss inside your body is something that there aren't words for. And so that was the hope. I think the worry was that it wouldn't be a good film, just as an artist, like that we wouldn't get our shots and make our days and do it within the budget and all of those ego things. And then, of course, I'm now going through the process of the 5 stages of grief, of not getting into the big festivals, and then figuring out that that's actually good, that big festivals that's not the medium for this film, that's not the best way to show it. It's actually online where people can see it in their privacy, and also in smaller groups. We're doing a bunch of screenings. If you're interested, let me know.
Yeah.
But
I think I know one that's coming up.
Yes, exactly. But smaller screenings where people can have an intimate conversation, and it's almost less about me and the film and more about what happens to the group and individuals in that group circle afterwards.
I agree. I mean, that's the first thing that I thought of, is like this as such a, just being in that room and experiencing people reacting to it, like there's some real powerful thing here that people can do in an intimate setting that is just as valuable as a big, you know, having a bunch of people in a film or in a big theater, I think, if not more, because we have a ton of that. We have a ton of
and it's
big
exclusive, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not interested in exclusivity. Hot Mess is on YouTube for free because I want people to see it.
Yeah.
And InstaFam is on iTunes for free because I want people to listen. I mean, it's not about making it valuable by making it hard to find or do.
Yeah. Do you also feel, as an artist, that encouraging other people to explore their own art form is part of it?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I think we're in dialogue, right? As people and artists, and throughout the ages. I mean, I'm interacting with novelists and painters that, you know, that I'm not even aware that I'm interacting with. I really believe that.
Has there been anything that surprised you about the kind of connections and things that have opened up because of making a film like this?
Something that surprised me sort of in general about where I'm at now is that I kind of thought I had to hurry up and make stuff before I got pregnant. But I actually ended up being more confident and clear on wanting to be an artist and not just produce other people's art once I had a baby. Now that I'm on the other side of birth, and now that I've had a person inside me, there's a lot of source going on here, right? There's a lot of estrogen, there's a lot of energy, there's a whole lot of source, and this is where it comes from. It doesn't come from here. And so this has literally expanded. And so I've found becoming a mother has made me more of an artist. And that's a surprise. I thought you had to pick.
Yeah. Well, I think we're told that, you know.
Well, right. We're limited to certain roles, right?
Right. Women watching now that have been told you can't have the career and be a mom, or you can't have free time. Because as an artist, sometimes you got to be kind of selfish, right? Like you're in like creative mode and you got to shut things down. Well, you can't possibly do that with children.
Right.
But I think a real artist finds a way, you know.
Well, that speaks to asking for help, right?
Yeah, yeah. If it's important to you, you're going to ask for help.
Your community steps up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. All right.
Yeah.
So so you've said earlier you wanted to be a mom. You've wanted to be a mom for a long time? Like,
I left a marriage that would have been a pretty good place to have a kid when I was 30.
mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I've been motivated by being a mother or having the traditional family structure as much as maybe other people. I think wanting to be a mom really honestly is born out of the grief of the abortion. Like that's, once I got through the other side of that, it was like, oh my God, that's the thing if I don't do, I won't feel complete.
Mm-hmm. Where does the drive to be an artist come from? Was that before motherhood? Or?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's before motherhood. That's since, I remember when they asked us what we wanted to be when we grew up, I said, I want to see the whole world and write it all down. I'm working on that.
Yeah.
Now that I'm in my 30s, late 30s, it's like there's a finite, there's only so many countries. Maybe I'll get to Iceland. But I'm not probably going to see the whole world.
Yeah. And
I probably won't write it all down. But I think there's something to that of wanting to be in direct contact with people through art.
Mm-hmm. And so what I see in your art is a lot of courage. I just see that, you're not making it for anybody but you, and then you just hope, that people will connect to it. Have you always identified I'm going to do this in my way, or no,
nothing that I've planned has really worked out, and everything that hasn't been planned has been great. So I want to sort of stop making plans.
That's awesome.
It's pretty messy over here right now. I think I was terrified of admitting that I wanted to be an artist myself, and kind of glommed on to jobs in the industry that shadow artist jobs.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun, but I could be at the Cannes Film Festival, but I was watching the film instead of being on stage celebrating having made a film. And so I've been on the wrong side of the right business until pretty recently. And now I just have to figure out how to make it a business, which is the irony, right?
You preach it to the choir.
Broken LA.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey. But now it's just about feeling like I deserve to live this dream.
Was there something pivotal that happened that said, I'm just going for this? I'm doing this, I'm going to make this film, I think I must have been the pregnancy, honestly, on some crazy other level. Yeah. But I also am with a beautiful man named Saxon, who's rapper Old Man Saxon, and his clarity around his career of just I came to LA to be a rapper, and if it doesn't work, I'll figure something out, but it should work because that's all I'm doing. And there's a simplicity that's sort of infuriating about that to me, because I like to complicate and try to do a bunch of different things at once, but I realize that's because I'm afraid that the thing I really want won't happen. Uh-huh. So I'm having all these little... He's good for you.
He's great for me.
Yeah.
He's a Libra. Hi, honey.
Yeah, he's good for you.
So his sort of just doing and not, we literally have lists. Well, I have big Post-it lists of things that I haven't done yet that I need to do all over the house, and it's so not working. It doesn't work. Yeah. But I can't stop. I need to stop doing it. And he gets more done just being a stoner, just simple, I'll be back in a couple hours, and he so something about that is just let's do this. I can do this. And he, and also he took care of the baby while I wrote, which is a very big deal.
Why is his name Old Man? What's the identity?
You'd have to ask him, because he's ornery and grumpy and doesn't like to leave the house.
Okay. But he's younger than you, right?
He's also 10 years younger than me, and I love leaving the house.
That's awesome.
So we're opposite, but no, he's great.
It sounds like it. I also kind of lean more towards the notes and stuff, but I find myself going, it's not working. I want to break the habit of it.
Yeah.
And, being, love that big deep breath, but being more in the now and experiencing and I have a little card that I'm reminding, my intentions that I'm reading every day, and one of them is I'm free to create, because sometimes that list overtakes creativity, or just being able to really do your best work.
Right.
And yeah, so I can understand that. I need a Saxon.
Yeah, or just burn the list, girl.
Yeah, burn the list.
And then you'll make more, and then you'll burn those.
Well, now I have a dry erase board because it's easy to
that's good.
Yeah, but what's crazy about that is it's easy to smooge off, and then you're like, well, I can't even read what I wrote on here anyway, so why am I writing this list?
Right.
It's still gonna.
The best is when you're writing the list what to do instead of just doing things.
That happens too. Yeah.
You're just obviously you shouldn't. Maybe you don't want to do what you're doing. That's another question, but maybe it's another episode.
Yeah. Well, some of it. I mean, sometimes busy. I think you said it in a way earlier that sometimes that busy work is just a little bit fear based, and it's preventing you from really investing in the thing that you want to do. Right.
And I think when you get under the list, it's actually just still probably shame of like, I really want this, and I'm not sure that it's gonna work, and I'm terrified, and I don't know how it's gonna happen, and I'm afraid of committing.
God, that just hit me. The list is shame.
It is.
The list is what you think you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
What other people want
what
you
other
to do.
people
Yeah.
see.
Oh,
when really you need to go roll around on the grass and cry and,
do whatever.
Or just, try to not be plugged in. Yeah. Right?
No, I love it. Boy, that hit me. I felt that one, you guys. All right, so this is something that I'm glad we're getting to do this. There's a little boy in her film, well, that is the son of a friend of mine, and this is how we got connected. And Jada's been on the show before, too.
Oh, she has?
Yeah, she has.
Hey, girl.
Well, you know what we were talking about. Vagina power, of course.
Of course. She's my doula.
Yeah, she's a hero.
She's great.
So I didn't get to chat that much with you when I was at the screening, but what I realized after watching some more content of yours and things that you've produced, that you are something that I call myself, which is, I think you're going to tell me if you relate to this or not, but vulnerability extremist. How does that land on you?
Vulnerability extremist? Yeah, I'd take that.
Yeah.
I'll join you.
Yeah?
Sure. I mean, there's a quote, and I don't know who said it, sorry, but everything you want is on the other side of fear. And there's something about being good scared that I'm really into. Like even coming today is scary in a good way though, right? And I think I don't feel alive necessarily unless I'm being vulnerable. And maybe to a fault in my personal relationships, I'm always pushing people to be a little more open, like digging. But I crave intimacy. Yeah. And I think it might even be easier for me to find it in creating art and speaking to my loved ones through my art instead of speaking to them directly. So maybe it's a sort of bizarre, maybe that's fear-based too, I don't know. But definitely vulnerability extremist, sure. Like with Hot Mess, it's just kind of all out there. Literally. And InstaFam, it really is. I mean, it's basically couples therapy for everyone to listen to. Yeah. And Wolf, of course, is, an insane portrait of grief. So, I'll join you. Yeah, all right. I don't know what we're going to do with that, where we're going to go with that. But Hashtag for starters.
Hashtag, we can vulnerability. Well, I'm weird about that. So my thing, and even, here I am doing a digital media show, streaming it on Facebook, which I have a love-hate relationship with Facebook.
I'm sure.
But I also think a lot of the content that we're exposed to through social media and just mass media is it's making us unwell. This like fast food content, where it's like, here's top 10 things, this is top 10 ways to parent, it's like, really, do you know my life? Do you know the richness of my life, the context of my life? And I'm, an advocate for context, right? And I think art is one place where like I can lean into and get that content offline as long as I go and do this, and talk to people about it and connect. Because we, this collective, we as a human race, I don't think we're very connected anymore. And that's kind of terrifying to me.
Well, it's lonely.
It's lonely.
Yeah.
It's lonely, it's sad, there's a lot of fear, so.
And comparison, as Brené Brown says, is the opposite of creativity. And I find my Facebook feed is just ripe with opportunities to compare myself to people who are doing better than me, whatever that means.
Totally. And the thing that we don't remember as we're like scrolling really quickly is like somebody chose to put their augmented reality out, their best highlight reel out, and then now you're seeing it and you're not remembering that's what that is. It's like, well, that's just a highlight. That's not them. That's not real. But now I'm comparing my whole life to this post or this person. It's like, that's a little messed up.
Right.
You know?
So watch this and then turn it off.
No. I mean, why I do watch this and then turn. Why I do this is like, go talk to people. Like I often say, this is my fuel for the week. Like I really get charged up by having a 55-minute conversation with someone and just connecting in a meaningful way and learning and being a little vulnerable. Like I don't have it all figured out.
No.
But the whole point of the show is like, go do this or pull something from here and have a conversation with somebody about it. You know, sign up to find out where the premiere is going to be for the online show so you can watch it, but go talk to somebody about it. Experience life with someone.
Yes.
I think.
That sounds good.
That sounds good?
Sounds nice.
You go with that.
Yeah.
You're very agreeable as a mom.
Yeah.
Is this the baby
It's her.
talking to
It
you?
must be, yeah. It
Just
must
like,
be her.
I'll go for that.
Yeah.
Well, where else do you see your art heading? Like, what do you, now that you've done it, you're bravely out there, you've got a short film out, you've got a couple now, and you've got a series. Where else do you want to, and she's rapping too, right?
Oh, he's rapping. I'm doing vocals with electronic artists, specifically my best friend who's based in Berlin, Kevin Knapp.
Okay.
Hey, Kev. Yeah, we're collaborating together, which we've been threatening to do for about 20 years, and now we're doing it.
Yeah.
Because I'm pregnant. It's like, it all just sort of happened. The next thing, I wrote little notes to myself all over my apartment before I met Saxon, and one of them was musical motherhood, and I hid them all over. And then I found one recently, and it's like, oh, musical motherhood. Here we are.
Here we are. Yeah,
so be careful with these statements because they come true. You got to get really specific with the universe because they're listening. But as far as where I see the art, I mean, I think right now I'm about to go in for a couple months to be a mother, which is like totally normal.
It sounded like,
or like go like, hiatus. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounded like I'm about to go in the studio to do this thing, but it's like, no, I'm about to go in to be a mother.
Right.
Yeah.
To be a mom. But the podcast will keep going. Hot Mess will keep going. I think, if I really am honest and visualize it, I think I see my family with the 2 girls and in nature, and I see more podcasts. I'm loving the podcast. I'm just like really into it. And I recently wrote a TV pilot, and I loved that process and would love to find myself in a place writing episodic where I'm with a group of people. Because I love writing, but I don't like being alone. Yeah. So it's confusing. Yeah. But I think that would feed the extrovert in me and the need to be in a group of adults. I mean, I love my girls. I already love you. But the conversation is rather limited. Selah has about 50 words. So it's amazing. But I think eventually in about a year, I could love seeing myself doing some TV writing and some podcast creation and producing. That's the goal.
So just keep doing it is basically like, there's not a project that like this dream project that you want to be on. It's just like, just do it.
No, I still can't find my way through whether I want to be hired or always do my own thing. I think I'm just in my own thing right now, but that's totally not going to last. My motherhood phase will end artistically and physically. And then there's a whole nother world. I can't see it now, but I think that's actually good. I think when I've been sure about things, I've always been wrong. So I'll remain unsure.
You'll remain unsure.
And open.
Yeah. That's what,
to the possibilities.
That's what you're learning right now. That's part of the whole...
Well, my hips are literally expanding right now, so I might as well just continue going. Like, don't want to fight nature.
Don't fight nature. That's a great way to,
Yeah, let's just learn from the body.
Don't fight nature. Is there anything else, some motherhood, like just what's coming up with now having 2 children, do you anticipate it being different? Is there any fear? Do you like sleep?
No. Oh.
You don't care about
sleep?
I'm
going to have to figure out how to dream not sleeping, dream while awake. Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I'm not terrified of splitting my attention between 2 people, and a lot of diaper changes and 2 people crying at the same time and not being able to give each of them enough of myself. I think that's, and then feeling like a little bit nervous about just kind of whatever disappearing means. Like, you know, I'm going to go under for a couple months.
Yeah.
Like, it's just going to be about like figuring out this new ecosystem at my house.
Yeah.
But I'm also, that is less of a concern than the excitement to meet her now.
I can relate to something that you just said, even though I'm not a mom. I have 14 nieces and nephews.
14?
14, yeah. Busy
Okay.
family. And I'm a dog mom, so I've always, you know, since my 20s, I've always had a dog. And now that, and I'm not at all suggesting having a dog is like motherhood, but I'm just saying I'm trying.
A lot of the same things.
Trying to loop this in as a relatable conversation. But I remember having my first dog. She was this awesome pit bull. I had her in my 20s. I had her for 17 years. Amazing, amazing dog. Okay, when she started slowing down, I was like, I am not going to do well when this dog leaves me. And I got another dog, and my biggest worry was how can I give equal love or as much love to another dog? Like, I felt like this dog was like my life. You know, my first dog, Contessa. And what I found out was it's really easy because, you know what, they were different. Like, my first dog was the internal old soul. She would just look at me and I go, you're right, Contessa, I probably shouldn't do that. You know, like, she just was this old soul. The dog that I have now that I brought in, you know, at the end of her life, Mr. Deeds, is a baby. He's an internal baby. He will always be a baby. His soul is a baby.
Interesting.
And what I find, you know, what I've learned from this, or what I feel is interesting, is, you know, no matter, you have no idea what she's going to be like. Like, she's going to be her own thing, even though she came from you, you know, and she came from somebody else that you know quite a bit about and love them, but she's still going to be her own thing, and that's the beauty of it. Like, you can love to full capacity when you allow somebody to just be who they are and not, you know.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, that's what's amazing about it, I think.
Yeah. No, you're right. You can love the unknown.
Yeah, totally. And you'll learn from them, and they'll trust and try, you know, but, you know, it's easy to, love is not, there's no, it's weird that we think about, like, not being able to love enough or give love in a certain way, but, like, it's infinity. Love is infinity. Like, it's going to happen whether you like it or not, and there's always more of it, and there's always more room for it, right?
That's
like,
true. Yeah. It's the everlasting fountain.
It is. The love fountain. Let's find that, too.
Love fountain.
Hashtag love fountain. All right. Is there anything else that you want to say about art, motherhood, before we switch gears a little bit? Like, what else is kind of...
I think I've said it. I think if anyone is wondering whether or not they should take the plunge and write their story or share their story in whatever medium, blog or photo, or I'd say, I know this is cheesy, but just share it.
Yeah.
Do it is one thing, right?
Yeah.
But I found in the sharing of the film, there's a whole nother thing that opens up inside you, and I think I'm excited to share more.
I feel that. I think that's will be our social challenge of the week too. It's like really, you know, this. If you watch the first minute of her film, I mean, it's there's depth there. This is a thing that you know, people continue to talk about. I was surprised when I did a Google News search how abortion is still so prevalent in our news and different.
Well, it's like it's a major reason women vote Republican.
Yeah.
And whiteness. It's another topic.
Yeah.
But it's the thing that the Republicans use, and I'm not here to talk about Republicans or Democrats, but it's used as a tool and it's connected to God, and it's connected to shame and guilt, and it's complicated, and it's, you know, it's messy.
Yeah, I love that those same people say things like God works in mysterious ways, but yet want to tell you how to, you know, run your life and what to do with your body. Like, it just blows my mind. Because at the end of the day, I wasn't raised Catholic, but raised pretty Christian conservative. At the end of the day, as far as I know, what the Bible says, God gave us free will, and the idea that any man would, you know, take that away, you know, or that would be part of our government to take that away, it seems kind of like, really, who's who's godly here, you know? Like, it blows my mind a little bit, that topic. I know people that voted for that guy in office right now just for that.
For this
issue.
reason, so it's a hot topic. I mean, I think the thing to really ask ourselves is like, and it happened to me, but it wasn't until after that I realized, like, I had a moment where I didn't think I deserved to be alive without having the child. In other words, like, the value of a woman's life, just as a woman, as a human, without taking care of somebody or something, is in question here. And I internalized that, and that's where the shame comes from. It's like, maybe that's the only reason I'm here. And it's like, no, I'm breaking with tradition in my family of women who, thank God, have had tons of kids. My mom's mom had 10 kids, you know, and we can talk about that, but, you know, that's, you know, she was a woman before that, and who was that person, and there's a value there.
Totally. All right, well, so one of the things I like to do on the show is just to show that any given time the circumstances of how we're relating can change, you know, and there's always more information available. Like, there's so much more I don't know about you, right?
Yeah, vice versa.
Right? So a fun way to do this is we have this random question table topic box.
Oh, cool.
That I'll ask you a question. You can ask me one if you'd like to.
Okay.
So we'll have a little fun with this. Ooh, that one's turned around. That means we've probably used it before. Let's see.
Oh.
What's the worst photo ever taken of you?
God, I don't know.
It's kind of silly.
There's one where I'm 8 months pregnant with Selah, and I'm laying on the bed, and there's like 10 egg yolks on a plate. I had eaten 10 egg whites, and like there's egg on my face. That's
literally egg on your face.
Yeah, I'll post it.
Yeah, I like it. The egg on the face.
Egg on the face.
All right. When have you stood up to your parents?
Not enough. God, this is a touchy subject. I think,
Are they watching?
No, my mom's actually coming here now. She's on a plane.
Okay.
And my dad is traveling. I've stood up to them quite a bit in the wrong way. As a teenager, I was pretty bad. Bad is the wrong word, but just rebellious and needing things that were outside in the darkness and not at home. I think it's when you become a mother, you start standing up to your parents in terms of how you need your kids to be treated, and how we're going to take care of my kids in my home, and that sort of like officially becoming an adult, where I'm the one now cutting the cake at the first birthday. Like, I'm the one we're in my house, and these are my rules, and if you want to spend time with my kids, we need to all agree to be here for her.
Yeah.
That's an ongoing conversation I think a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah.
So it's not a one-time but it's more of an ongoing dialogue that's hard to have.
Like, this is what's important to you as a parent.
Yeah, you have to be willing to have hard conversations for your kids.
I like it. All right, do you want to ask me a question?
Yes.
All right, pull whatever little gift out of that box.
What fear have you outgrown?
Oh, I was asked this last week.
Oh, well then let's not do that one. For God's sake.
I think that's why it was turned around.
Oh, okay. What song would you like to sing at karaoke?
Oh, what song do I, or would I like to? I love singing Abracadabra.
Would you like to?
I love singing Abracadabra.
But which one are you scared? I'm going to change this.
Yeah.
What song are you too scared to sing?
I love music, and so I don't know if I'd be totally scared. Like, if it's too, what song would I be scared to sing? I don't think I'd be really scared to sing anything. Because I've already, maybe that. Yeah.
Maria Callas.
Yeah, like if it's something that really requires a lot of vocal talent, which I don't have. I mean, if I can sing something and just be playful with it, I'm cool. I can mess it up. But yeah, if it was something really intense, probably opera or something like that would be.
Okay.
Or where I was going is maybe if it was something that the lyrics didn't really align to what I believe in, and I was having a hard time saying it, like you know, if it was offensive, if it like had like the N-word in it a lot or something, and I just didn't want to say that, like that.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, that would probably be a little difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one wants to see.
No one wants
to hear that.
Yeah, no one needs to hear that. No. Or offensive, you know, offensive to women. Like one of my worst Uber rides. I do rideshare quite a bit. I gave up my car when I moved down to downtown Los Angeles, and I totally dig it. And one of the worst ones was I got in a car, and the guy had like this most offensive, like bitch, P-word, like every word that I just didn't need to hear in that moment, and it was cranked up. And when I asked him to turn it down, he was kind of a tool about it. You know, it's like, kind of, man, just give some respect. Like, I'm not, and I was nice. It was just like, hey, man, can you turn that down? I'm not like, and he was really upset that he had to turn it down. I'm like, can you not acknowledge that a woman just got in your car and maybe I don't want to hear that?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to sing that either.
Okay.
Like, is that fair?
That's interesting. Yeah. Well, episode 3 that's coming out Thursday, Saxon and I have a fight about the complication around being a rapper's girlfriend. So you should listen.
I think I'm going to have to listen to that. I mean, there's probably some fun stuff there.
It's intense.
It's intense. All right. Well, let's switch gears one more time. We're almost at the end of the show.
Okay.
So the last thing that I'd like to do, we actually have 2 things coming up. So we're going to do a Heartswell, and then we're going to figure out a social challenge of the week that we can encourage people to do based on our conversation. I kind of already know what it's going to be.
Okay.
But the next thing is what I call Heartswell. Time to move. Baby's moving.
She's kicking my bladder.
So the next thing is what I call Heartswell, and it's just an opportunity to like give a shout out, a meaningful like, hey, I see you, you really mean something to me, but like just sharing deep emotions. And the reason that I like asking people to do this and, you know, want to encourage people to do this is I don't think we do it enough. So I'm hoping that as people see these, that they're like, oh, I can do that. I can call a relative that I haven't called in a while and say, I love you, or you really mean something to me, or, you know, maybe it's even an act of forgiveness or stating a new commitment, but whatever, you know, but saying to somebody like, hey, I'm thinking about you.
Okay.
Okay. Are you
right now just the camera?
Yeah. Do you have someone in mind?
Can I say a few things?
Yes.
You can cut me off.
You are. I appreciate you telling me you can do whatever you want.
Oh,
it's
okay.
funny. It's funny. You guys.
Well, my
know.
heart is big. I have 2, so I have to at least do 2. 'Cause I have 2 hearts. If it's 2. A heart swell.
All right. Do 2. Yep.
Okay. Okay. So let me contextualize. My grandma, who I was close with, just passed. I was too pregnant to go say goodbye in Texas. So she just passed, and it was her birthday Sunday. And Grandma, I just want to say I'm sorry that I didn't tell you how much you influenced me until you passed. I'm not sure why I waited, and I'm sorry.
About that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where in Texas?
She's in Katy. They were in Southeast Texas, and then the hurricane after Katrina wiped the ranch out, which I spent every summer at when I was a kid. And they moved in with my aunt and uncle, and then she kind of got some Alzheimer's, and then she was in memory care, and complicated process of not being able to go visit her. But there's no guilt around that because I had to choose health for Naya, but I'm calling her Naya, but I'm going to change her name, probably. But yeah, it was just that, like, I was really up against that reality of motherhood where you can't do whatever you want anymore. So I couldn't say goodbye to her. But she was amazing and she had a used bookstore in the middle of Southeast Texas and smoked cigarettes and always had poodles and painted landscapes and wrote romance novels. And just wonderful. And, like, I don't know why I didn't tell her that. But, like, I'm basically doing everything she did. Just I'm picking up where she left off. And I think I don't want to wait to tell people how much they mean to me until they're on my altar.
That's amazing.
Okay, and I have one more.
I know you do. Go for it.
So this is for Nana, who's my mother's mother. She lost her first son when he was 4. And I'm realizing that I didn't know you until you had already had 10 kids. But I'm sorry you lost your son. That's horrible.
There's tissues here for you.
Thank you. And maybe Wolf is for her.
Maybe Wolf is afraid. Have you said that before?
I've thought that, but it's becoming really clear right now as I'm sitting here.
Mm-hmm. What's very clear to me right now, when I'm tuned in and feeling it, please here.
Thank you.
Is it's all connected. You know, when going back to what you said about shedding the list and like just allowing yourself to be and be connected to things and memories and people. It's really beautiful. Like life can be super beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, really amazingly beautiful if you allow those things to.
If you let yourself feel things.
Yeah.
The pain stuff, because then joy is on the other side of it, but you can't have one without the other. I tried.
Yeah, you can.
I tried to just party, but it didn't really go anywhere.
Didn't go anywhere. That's funny. I say a lot too, like the pain. Pain is a blessing because it says that you're growing. Like you have something next. There's a next level. There's something else that you're supposed to be doing. So pain is like that catalyst for growth. And I always want to be growing. Like everything in life that is beautiful is growing. The plants, the trees, you know, life inside, it's growing, right? So
yeah, and changing.
So leaning into that and allowing that growth to happen is very beautiful.
Lean in.
It's very beautiful. Okay, my friend, this has been amazing. So we have to do one more thing.
Okay.
We have to figure out something that we can, well, first, everything that we talked about today, so links, if we have some premieres coming up or the online one, we'll put all of that in the archive so you can get a hold of you can see her podcast, her Instagram series, and some
eventually
preview.
Wolf.
And eventually Wolf. So I'm going to share all of that in the archives.
Thank you.
And we talked about Brennan Brown. You brought up a book. I'll make sure we get the
Tattoos on the Heart by Gregory. Gregory Boyle.
Tattoos of the Heart. We'll share that too. Okay.
Okay.
But the last thing that I'd like to do is just issue a social challenge of the week based on our conversation.
Okay.
And what I'm really leaning into, unless you convince me otherwise, is so maybe there's something that you haven't talked about. I believe, or I wouldn't be doing this show, that we have to heal, and one of the ways that we can heal is by sharing it. Like when we kind of hold things in, and it manifests somewhere, and it often actually creates physical discomfort in the body. So like releasing it totally. So the ability to talk to someone and share something and work something out is really powerful, and that takes practice. And maybe we're not good at it, but maybe try art to do that.
Yeah. The only thing I'd say to that is that being an artist, sometimes I crave structure and restriction. Mm-hmm. Like, draw a cat is easier than just draw anything. Mm-hmm. So if you could give a restriction to the process, like give yourself 10 minutes to make something, whether it's like a voice note or a note on your phone or a drawing, or just take some chalk. I've been drawing with chalk with Selah on everything.
Must be available.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like on every surface. Yeah. It's amazing you can draw on anything.
Yeah.
But like all of that is art. Like I think removing the stigma of art from it being like separate from just being human and this deep desire we all have to share our story. Mm-hmm. Like we've been doing cave drawings since the beginning of time. I don't know if they classify themselves as artists, but we have a desire to create a legacy, whether it's through a child or through something that lasts longer than us. Mm-hmm. And it can be something that washes away with the rain. It matters. Mm-hmm. Get it out.
Get it out, yes. So I agree with the restrictions. So maybe the first step of this is deciding what kind of art you want to do. So is it illustrating something? Is it drawing? Is it a poem? Is it more lyrical? Is it something you're going to sing? And then give yourself maybe a short window to just write that out, what that is. And then maybe the third thing is like, go do it, but like.
Yeah, and then maybe the fourth thing is share it here.
The fourth thing would definitely be share it. You know, find a place to share it. And, you know, and I would encourage you guys to, I always say share it with me. You know, I love hearing from people when they take the social challenge. But I love it more when I hear from you that you shared it with somebody personally, and something happened because of that. You know, because you can't get a lot of context in a tweet or, you know, a short post in social media, but you can when you're doing this. And I'm always going to be the fan and I'm always going to encourage context. Always, 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 always. That's not going to change.
And process, not product.
Process, not product. Yes, celebrating momentum.
Momentum. I love that.
And not the end result.
Yes.
So, well, this was really
fun.
really cool. Yeah,
Thank you.
It was really cool.
Thanks for having me.
I'm thrilled that we
made it.
We got to do this. I was a little worried.
My last public appeence.
Yeah, it probably is.
It
probably is. But I'm glad that we got to share this. And, you know, when she is in this world, please share pictures.
I will, of course.
Let us know what's going on.
Okay.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for being here. That does wrap up the show for this week. You know, you can reach out to either one of us at so Brittany you can find at Baby Luck Productions, or Baby Luck Productions is Instagram. What's Twitter?
Baby Luck Music.
Baby Luck Music.
But Brittany-Ballard.com is my website where all of my social media is, and Facebook is Brittany Ballard, and my profile pic is Hot Mess. If there's more than one Brittany Ballard, which I'm sure there are.
You'll find her. And we're going to share that as well. So you'll be able to find her.
Find me. I would love to connect.
Yes. And if you do any of the social challenges, reach out to us.
Totally.
Encourage her. You know, you can check in and see when the baby's born and when the premiere is coming on live for
Absolutely.
which I highly recommend. And you can share that with me. So you can share that at Love More Now on Twitter or Relate with Steph on Instagram. And next week, so we're going to be talking about fashion in a different way. Again, we've covered fashion in a couple different ways in the past, but fashion not in terms of like what's the trends and dress for the trends, but more like having a go-to outfit when you need to feel confident, or you know, you want to feel sexy, or whatever that is. Like, we're going to talk about it as more of a mood thing. Like,
I'll have to watch that.
What needs to be in your closet. So that's with Rain Parvis next week. And, you know, I think that's it for today. As always, I wish you guys, I want to hear you guys repeat back the tagline that I say at the end of the show and show me how you're actually using it. But I always end the show with relate with more curiosity. I think that's what the world needs right now. Yes, we need more love. I could say that too. But just being more curious with people, like, is not just a benefit to the other person, but it's a benefit to you as you learn and, you know, feel your way through life. So,
agreed.
Right. Relate with more curiosity, and I'll see you next week.
Bye.